Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and please enjoy this look at this particular brochure and introduction to Games Workshop's games and miniatures that was probably found around about 1991 in the 4th edition box set. I think this is where I got mine from. I'm not really sure. It's hard to say because I don't know whether... I think this is the original one. I'm not sure, but it would have been one of those box sets during that time, maybe Epic Space Marine. It's just one of those brochures that I found back in Australia, or maybe it was gifted to me. I can't remember. I'm sorry, but it's around about 1990 when this is released. In fact, they probably have a date down here, and is it 1993? It looks like it's trademarked here. So there you go, 1993. So this would have been around about the time when, we probably got Epic Space Marine, I think. Now, this is quite similar to the previous one that we looked at with the Khorne Berserker on the front of it, like the World Eater Marine by Jeff Taylor. The internal artwork is almost exactly the same. There are some differences, though, here and there in the layout and maybe some different choices of artwork. But apart from that, the internal layout is very similar to the previous one. Maybe the store pictures have changed. They certainly look very green and vibrant. Lots of activity, especially on weekends. If you're a staff member and a red shirt back in those days, you'll be wiring a lot and having the kids come in as their parents drop them off to play their games of Warhammer Fantasy or 40k or whatever was happening at that time. But in this picture here, they've still got a lot of the old Hammer, the Warhammer role play publications there in the bottom shelves, and even I think the Warhammer 40k stuff is sort of in its first and third iterations at that stage. Here we are, 4th edition, the big game that made a massive impact on me, and I still love it to this day. I still can't get over how good this edition was. The books, the miniatures, everything about it gave a very simple approach to Warhammer, and it was sort of my foray into tabletop wargaming, apart from Epic Space Marine, of course. But yeah, the miniatures themselves, the High Elves, the Goblins, were just iconic armies of the time and still are, and they still hold fond memories with many people who see them. And yeah, for this it's the ultimate edition. We contain, of course, the Battle Magic set with a magic system that just felt so intuitive to me, with the cards, the magic items, the spells, everything about it was just so cool. And yeah, it really opened my eyes to what a proper war game, with 28mm miniatures on a tabletop with terrain and everything like that was really what it was really like. And I still enjoy playing 4th edition to this day. Most of the other internal pages here are very similar to the earlier editions. They've just included some things, of course, related to 4th edition fantasy. Warhammer 40k was still during the Rogue Trader era, and the pictures here replicate that. Still got that classic, a powerful force of Eldar warriors from the Alatok craft world, pictured here. And I was just looking through one of the old White Dwarves with the army list for the Eldar in Rogue Trader, which looked really cool and interesting. And I think that's what me and Chris were looking at during the time when we were sort of curious about 40k, and he was very curious about the Eldar. But at that time, we decided to play Epic Space Marine because getting the miniatures for 40k was just too pricey, and we just couldn't both afford to buy initial armies for Warhammer 40k. But instead, we went for the Epic Space Marine option, which gave us lots of wonderful gameplay experiences, and you could play anything. You play any company, any type of force of Marines, or Eldar or Orc. You name it, you could have it at your fingertips. It was really accessible. And here it is in all its beautiful glory. And it's got a spectacular Blood Angels army, which it certainly is. All that wonderful terrain there as well, and all the supplements and box sets that came with it. And it showcases a few armies, like that magnificent Elder army. This is from a particular battle report they pictured. The Mighty Arm of Chaos, which came from the Renegades box set. One of the internal pictures there had this particular shot of all the miniatures and units contained with the Chaos Army, which is my favourite of all the armies in Epic Space Marine. I found them to be the most fun to play. Eldar Phantom Titan, painted in the metallic paint set at the time. So Mike McVeigh was really showcasing that and what those new metallic paints could do. Man of War, one of those games that I played back in '94 once on the floor of a place I was staying at with a guy there. I can't remember his name, but I played the Dwarves and he played another faction, and I really enjoyed it. And that was the only game until 2020, somewhere around there, when I managed to pick up a game here of Man of War, the box set, and some fleets. And yeah, all I can say, it's an absolute beautiful game. Great system. Andy Jones and Nigel Stillman and Bill King are behind this, and they made a beautiful set of rules. Really fun to play. And yeah, any chance I get of breaking out Man of War, I'll definitely give it a go. Tyranid Attack, of course, though, I don't have any experience with, but I'm really curious about what it's like. I can see lots of cards there, which, triggers my interest as to what they could be. Could they be like random events? Could they be like equipment cards? Not sure, but looks really interesting. And then we come to the collecting and painting Citadel miniatures page. Got some wonderful miniatures there from the studio, painted by the studio staff in almost every case. And I think there are some contributions probably from other staff members too, like this Eldar Guardian. I can't remember if that's from Mike McVeigh's personal collection or one of the other. Richard Wright, I think, was one of the other graphic artists at the time who had this. He was an amazing painter, and he had this incredible collection of various models, and I think a lot of it was Eldar too. Teclis and Tyrion, two of my favorite models that I painted for my army, which I absolutely love and adore. And yeah, painted by the true master, Mike McVeigh, in all their splendor. Here it's got Goblin, Shaman, and War Wyvern, which is funny because it's not actually a Goblin, it's an Orc. It's a bit of a typo there. We've got the Orc Rock Lobber rocking it out there, the Grey Hunter Squad and the Ultramarines. Beautifully painted with very nice decorative banners. Ragnar, again, Mike McVeigh special. Again, with some pretty incredible banners and, yeah, lots of regalia. Love it. Then you got sort of these, you got this really high saturated, contrasting looking paint job. And then you got sort of these older style Rogue Trader paint jobs, which are really cool in their own way. And I've been looking through a lot of White Dwarves, a lot of the older White Dwarves, and a lot of these sort of green, dark green bases, which I really enjoy as well on the Rogue Trader models. And yeah, it's an interesting to reflect on, the past and present sort of paint jobs and how that change and how much more, maybe photography came into it as well. Maybe they had more digital photography, or maybe they had programs they could use like Photoshop to enhance the photographs a lot more as well later on. That probably was a big factor. Citadel paint sets, of course, and all 8 of those awesome sets that we all picked up back in the day and love and cherish. I actually used some of the paint in the Epic Paint set, the battle set, this week, and they're perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Golden Demon Games Day, when things would have been really hectic and fun to attend those events. If you attended one of them, please let me know in the comments. They look really wonderful, and I only attended one. I had to work at one, so I can't really remember much about it. White Dwarf magazine and your subscription to those for 12 months and that kind of thing was carrying on here. 148 seemed to be around about the time when this was released, maybe when they started producing the particular catalogue. And it was only a month after I got my issue, which was 147. And here you got the mail order screen, the sheet that you can order things. So, for example, Mighty Empires, the box game was £24 or £25 basically. And Warhammer the Fantasy Battles box set for 4th edition was only £30. Warhammer Battle Magic was only £18. So it gives you an interesting look at some of the pricing back in 1993. The actual paint sets were only £8, which is incredible now. And the paintbrushes were like £1.40, £1.50, £1.70. And you can get your special subscription offer. And if you got 12 issues for the year, you would pick up a free 336-page Citadel catalogue worth £10. Not a bad deal, because those catalogues are really rich with great information about all those models that we loved back in the day, and would have made ordering them really much easier. So we come to the back, we've got the Goblin Horde attacks a high elf tower, and another iconic photograph taken at that time when 4th edition was just coming out into the hands of many gamers out there, including myself. So I hope you enjoyed this issue, guys. I really enjoyed bringing it to you. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for your support. Thanks again for voting in the latest poll. I appreciate your thoughts and feedback, as always, because you are the people I'm making these videos for. And I enjoy making them, so I'm really glad you enjoy them too. Thanks, take care, and see you again next time. Bye-bye.